Right, hello and welcome to another video by Adrian David from Pure Electric. In this video, I just want to talk through this article in the Electrical Trade magazine, where it says half of the UK has a shortage of more than 50 electricians. Now, when I first read this, it's on page 10. So I'll just turn this over. I was interested to know how they came to that conclusion, because again, to work out something like that would need masses and masses of data. And as you guys know, in any formula, for something to truly add up, it's not only got to work forwards, it's got to work backwards. And then you've also got to be able to transpose the formula, and it still has to add up, because if it doesn't, then the answer's wrong. Okay. So reading through this, and I'm not having a dig at anybody here. I'm not having a dig at the magazine or the person who wrote this article or anything like that. I just wanted to have a talk around it, because there's a lot of numbers that get bandied around. You know, a few years ago, we had the Daily Mail that were banding around electricians earning £132,000 a year, you know, which is laughable. And they'd taken a very small selection of people in London working for a particular amount of money at a particular time or whatever, and just times that by the amount of days and hours worked and came up with this magical figure of 132,000. And the problem is with that is that kind of generates interest from people then wanting to join the industry, thinking that's what they're going to earn. Okay. I know on the day my wife came home and she was laughing because her colleagues had said, well, your husband's an electrician, why are you even here? And she had to explain that, actually, do you know what, I'm the main breadwinner of the house. I earn more than my husband does. So, you know, we had to have a little chuckle at that. So this is by no means a dig at anybody. It's just good to see where the numbers come from, and I'll explain to you why I think they're wrong. So this study was completed by ERF, a distributor, wholesaler in Middlesex. And what they did is they looked at electrician jobs on the website, and they found that there were 574 job openings in Middlesex alone. In Surrey, there were 566, Hertfordshire, 555. So basically, over 112 areas, which is in this list here, they saw how many jobs for electricians were going. Now, that's a very 1D way of looking at the issue, okay? Because you then have to consider who's applying for those jobs, okay? Now, it's all well enough Middlesex having 574 jobs that were advertised. Now, as a previous employer, and talking to employers all the time about the skills, you know, lack of skills, lack of competency in the industry, lack of being able to find good people that know what they're doing, it isn't as clear cut as that. There's a very shallow pool of people that are actually qualified and competent enough and trustworthy enough to be able to do the job. Okay, so there may be 574 jobs in that area. That doesn't mean to say there's 574 less electricians. It could mean that there's 1,000 electricians or domestic installers, because domestic installers are not qualified electricians. They're not the same, which I'll briefly explain in a second. There could be thousands, but they're not right for the jobs because they're not competent, they're not qualified, they're not skilled enough. Okay. So what we now have to ask is, why are there 574 jobs, and how many electricians are actually in that area? Now, there's a well-known training provider who have an 18-day bronze course, and they used to advertise that their 3-week course was enabling 90% of electricians entering the industry did so via their course. And then they also bragged that they had a 95% success rate. Okay, so just hold on to that piece of information. I've only been in the training industry for 2 years. We teach apprentices. Now, I can tell you, if you look at NET statistics for the AM2, their pass rate first time is around 40%, according to Darren Oates from NET. I personally would argue that it's actually a lot less than that, but I'm not going to argue with Darren's statistics. He knows the numbers, okay? Let's say it's 40%. Why the disparity? Why is a 3-week domestic installer course 95% success rate, but a 3-year apprenticeship is only 40% success rate first time round? Okay, You then have to query, well, someone that's doing it for 3 years, why is the rate so low? You know, do they not understand the material? Is the material that's given in 3 weeks of a better standard? Okay, which it really can't be in that amount of time. Or is it because the apprenticeship level is up here and that 3-week course is down here, which I think is more likely, okay, looking at it objectively. Now, as an employer, am I going to choose somebody that's had 3 weeks training, okay, and doesn't know what they don't know? Or am I going to choose somebody that's had 3 years of training? Personally, I know which one I'm going to choose. You then need to look at the fact that also on that well-known training provider's website, they used to say, or they put, I think they still do, it's worth having a look. They used to say that most people passing this course won't be employed. They kind of hint at the fact that you won't be able to get a job with this course. Most people doing this course end up as self-employed, okay? And there's the kicker. We've got a massive floodgates have opened with these courses, a massive influx of domestic installers, okay? So there aren't enough jobs for electricians, there aren't enough jobs for apprentices, okay? But we've got a massive influx of domestic installers flooding the market, but they don't become employed because they don't know enough. So their only option is to become self-employed because nobody will employ them. So maybe this 574 jobs, they're looking for actual electricians, okay, not domestic installers. So it's not the same thing. So again, these training providers are going to jump on that and say, fantastic, look, we've got a skill shortage. We don't have a skill shortage in that sense. We have a competency shortage. We have a shortage of qualified electricians that are recognized by the industry, because again, in my previous videos, you will see that a domestic installer is not classed as an electrician. In fact, they're actually committing fraud by advertising themselves as electricians, because when a customer phones up or goes to a competent person scheme looking for an electrician, that is what they're expecting to turn up at the door. Now, if the industry doesn't recognize them as qualified, how can they sell themselves as qualified or advertise themselves as qualified? Now, the schemes are very clever because they don't advertise them as electricians, they advertise them as domestic installers. They're very careful with their wording because, again, they don't want a lawsuit against them. They don't want to get into any trouble. So I guess all I wanted to do, I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention. I just wanted people to have a look, see what you think, see if you can work out where they get these facts and figures from, see if you agree with them. You know, I'm not saying that my opinion is right. I'm happy to open this up into debate and have a talk through it. But the danger is that if we go around saying that there's a shortage of electricians, but all we're selling is domestic installer courses, which don't make electricians, and then these job vacancies cannot be filled by domestic installers because they need to be filled by electricians, then there's a danger. There's a real danger there because, again, there isn't enough jobs for apprentices to get apprenticeships. And that is where electricians come from. Okay, so just a thought. As always, you know, let me know how you get on. Feedback, sign, subscribe, whatever it is you need to do. Let's get this message out there. Let's have a chat and see what people come back with, because there may be more figures and facts out there that I'm not aware of that we can talk through. And then we've got more pieces of the puzzle. So take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon.